everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk call the roll?
Mayor Primoroso.
Here.
Vice Mayor Jablin.
Here.
Councilmember Russo.
Here.
Councilmember Tinsley.
Here.
Councilmember Blvd.
Here. Do we have any additions, deletions, or modifications tonight?
No, sir.
Okay, first up on the agenda, announcements, presentations. We have the Dwyer High School state champions in 7A Division football.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Justin Lucas, Community Services Operations Manager. We have Coach Jack Daniels and members of the Dwyer High School state champion football team and some coaches. We also have a banner here that we'd like to hold up and get a photo with the council and the team that's here tonight.
I just want to say one thing. You guys gave me a great, exciting Friday night. I'm glad it was on television. It was on live. We didn't have to wait till 3 weeks later to watch it. But you guys were awesome. Absolutely awesome. Probably the most exciting game I've watched in years. Now, I'm not a Florida State guy like David, so I'll tell you the championship game. But you guys are awesome. And I'll tell you something. I was so proud of you. And it's over the years, you know. I mean, it's just something that you've, and Coach, you've done a great job with these, I don't want to call them kids anyway, these guys, and you've helped them get college educations throughout the years, and you instilled that discipline in them, and you all should be commended for the job you do. I was just so excited, I had to tell you.
Yeah, I was in Orlando that weekend, happened to turn on the TV, and
You should have drove on.
well, I couldn't, I didn't know the commitments, but to see it on TV, because I guess they have a high school football channel out of Orlando, I guess it covers the state, and you guys were on there, and it was a little sketchy the first half, but the second half, you guys really, the conditioning and the work ethic showed up, and really you guys dominated the second half, and then ran away to the state title, so congrats to you guys, congrats to Jack.
The big guys are in the back. The big guys are in the back. On the backfield, pretty much everybody. The guys in the front. Where we go? Put us on one side or what? Let's spread it out. Spread it out. Here, get them out. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Just want to highlight a couple of things about this year's football team. 15-0 record. As you can see, they beat Niceville for their second championship in school history in football. Number 3 ranking in Florida. Of all the schools that play football, according to Max Preps, the number 3 rated team in Florida. Player of the Year by the Sun Sentinel for Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year, as well as Coach Daniels for Coach of the Year. Had an All-American, Army All-American, which is one of the prestigious All-Star games at the end of the year. And I think something Coach is probably most proud of is 9 guys with a possible of 2 more that signed yesterday. So, wow. All right, thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you. Have a good night. We appreciate you coming. Hopefully we'll see you guys next year. Thank you. To the room here, we have some scouts. You guys want to stand up? Give you a little appreciation. One of you want to come up and speak and say why you're here and what's happening, or don't be shy. Anybody? Pick one. Here we go. You're the only one out of uniform. What's going on?
Well, we are
are Scouts from Troop 132 based in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, over in Trinity United Methodist Church on Gardena Road and Military Trail. Basically what we're doing here is we are fulfilling a requirement in citizenship of the community merit badge where we attend a city council meeting and we see the different issues of what's going on in our city. And after this we discuss what we talked about, or what you guys talked about, and see if we're for an issue or against it. And again, that's for our citizenship of the community merit badge.
Well, great. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
And just so you know, getting back to the Honda Classic, the winner of the Honda Classic last year was an Eagle Scout. Isn't that something? So you guys can watch that and root for him again.
And you can always come back to another meeting, gentlemen, if you want.
Great. You know, school nights are kind of rough, so we're probably going to be leaving you in a few minutes. But I did want to make an announcement when you talk about Eagle Scouts, because every one of these young gentlemen, that's their goal at the end of all the hard work that they put in. But the troop has been, I've only been involved with the troop for about a year and a half. And we have one of our assistant scoutmasters is here. My name's Bob Daniels. We have like 25 assistant scoutmasters that work with this troop right out of Trinity. But we have Steve Parks. Steve, can you stand up? Steve is an Eagle Scout right from Trinity, and he's back as an assistant scout.
Bob, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here tonight. I hope you're enjoying the activities. Okay, next up we have Beth Keegle, President and CEO of the Northern Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, presenting their branding initiative, please.
Good evening. I'm here with Michelle Jacobs, who is the chair of our branding steering committee. But first of all, since I get to say my name into the record, Beth Keegle with the Northern Palm Beach County Chamber of Commerce, now located on PGA Boulevard in Palm Beach Gardens. So I want to very, very exciting, and we're happy to give you a brief update of what's happening with the North County Branding Initiative. One of the things that I know Michelle and I would like to reiterate, it's a pleasure through the Chamber of Commerce that we're facilitating this wonderful initiative. One of the things that we'd like to make sure everybody understands that while we're facilitating and helping to coordinate this initiative, this is an initiative that's owned by the entire northern region of the county. So we're very pleased to be helping to facilitate that. We're in full gear right now. We actually have a lot that's been going on in terms of determining the overall identity and brand for the northern region. But we have webinars going on, we have focus grouping going on, and we'll have some one-on-one interviews going on that will be looking at the different messaging inputs that we've been receiving after. Thank you very much. I know that the city managers helped us with a lot of inputs in terms of what the desires would be for a new business that might want to relocate into Palm Beach Gardens as well as throughout the region.
And I'll interrupt for a moment. So the company that we hired to facilitate this is called Starmark, as you know, and we're about a third of the way in the process. So the first part of the process was for them to come and do a site visit with government officials, with private business, with homeowners, so a lot of different people throughout these 10 municipalities. We are doing focus groups, which are going to come in the next 2 weeks. 2 rounds of focus groups. They're in person, and that's a real opportunity for some of our founding and visionary partners to participate in. And we would like to thank you for being one of our founding partners. We are very excited that Riviera Beach has come in at the $10,000 level, which is a visionary partner, as well as the town of Jupiter at $10,000. So we know that you have come in at a $5,000 investment, which we very much appreciate, and we hope there will be consideration for an additional $5,000 to meet that other next level of a visionary partner. As Beth said, this is privately funded. It's not happening through the chamber, so large or small, every investment counts. and we really appreciate all the help that the city is giving us. Ultimately, we want to come up with a brand identity for this wonderful Mecca that we live in, so that when the Business Development Board is marketing our part of the county to prospective site consultants and businesses to come here, they have something very easy that they can use as tools. Many of those tools will be online to sell our part of the county.
Do you have any questions for us?
Is the branding information, once it's all said and done, will that be a separate site, or is that going to be through the chamber as people come in to look at this area through the chamber website to get more information or details?
We're actually setting up a separate landing page through our chamber website for the branding initiative. So we'll be updating that. We are also considering a separate Facebook page as well.
In addition to that, once the branding component of it has been completed, all of our local businesses can use this. So we hope that everyone will adopt it, and we'll get a lot of equity in it, as well as the tools that will give the Business Development Board the CVV, so when they're marketing to tourists, they're going to have an identity that they can use on their website, on my business website, being able to use it. So this identity is going to be used for everyone, which is really a terrific thing.
I think one of the things that we all know in terms of what's happening in the northern region of the county is that really we have some of the best kept secrets. And if you wanted to, you could work in the northern region, you could live in the northern region, you could enjoy your cultural arts, send your children to wonderful schools, and this is the kind of messaging that really needs to come out.
Yeah, have you looked at the, I know the biotech cluster, they did a branding thing and so forth. Have you coordinated just to look at what they did and so forth?
They are a part of the process, and they are actually very interested in the participation piece of it. We've also worked with the TDC and those folks, because the CVB went through a whole rebranding campaign, as you know, over the last 3 years, and we were able to garner a lot of that market research to use. We passed that on to Starmark as well, so that we are going to make sure that we're not a complete one-off, that we can fit into what the overall branding of Palm Beach County is, but still have our own identity. So yes, we are taking into consideration all the other branding initiatives that have been going on.
And just so you know, the Business Development Board and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, they are stakeholders in the process. So they are engaged and supportive of the process. And they've also kept us in the loop in terms of the branding that they've done for tourism.
Well, you know, and the city management bureau is out, you know, many times when we've met with companies to come into our city, they were very much impressed with what we had, our vision plan, and what we had, our newsletter, magazines, and so forth. So they look at all of that. So that's why it's very important to have that document. It's great when a company comes in, they can have that, and you can show it to them. It's awesome. So I totally agree with it. Whatever we can do to support it, as you well know, we're partners. So whatever we can do.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I want to echo your comments, but this initiative is on the consent agenda. I'd like to leave it there and pledge another $5,000 to this effort in the city of Palm Beach County.
Just a quick question. Have we thought about going into some of the scientific journals like Nature or Sciences or basic ones, or some more the technical ones, you know, maybe to reach out to scientists and scientific community, hopefully to bring some of them here, you know, so because I think that the scientific community, and we've talked about this, Beth, doesn't understand that we have research here, you know, and that the state of Florida, you know, does not have a good reputation right now in the scientific community, and that needs to change because it's not true. They're going on 20-year-old data.
I think what you're going to see come out of this is there will be an umbrella message for the entire region, and then you're going to see essentially a message tree of different levels of message. Obviously, bioscience, biotech is a huge part of that, and that came out loud and clear through the initial phase of what we've been going through. So, point well taken, recognized by the steering committee. Certainly, with the city being a visionary partner, we expect you to continue to have a very prominent seat at the table to make sure that items like that are addressed to your satisfaction.
I agree with what you're saying. It's absolutely important. I think we'll get back, with our contribution, we'll get it back trifold, absolutely.
Beth, Michelle, thank you very much for coming tonight. Keep us in the loop. Thank you. Next up, we have the Veterans Check presentation. Tim, if you want to mention that tonight's monies are a record, I won't be offended by it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tim Casher, Golf Operations Director for the record. And tonight, I have the honor of speaking about the 8th Annual Mayor's Veterans Golf Classic that was held on Saturday, December 7th, 2013 at the newly renovated Palm Beach Gardens Golf Course. We had a full field of 136 golfers. All of the people on the dais were in the field, and there's many people in the crowd that golfed as well. And I want to personally thank them all for golfing. Many of the golfers are veterans themselves. This year, it was an extra special event because we coincided with the reopening of the new Palm Beach Gardens Golf Course. I would especially like to thank our maintenance crew, two that are here tonight, Cindy Unger and Pat Munson, who did an excellent job. They had the extra challenge this year of bringing the course basically from dirt to the lush green field that you saw when you played. So I wanted to thank them especially tonight. I'd also like to thank all the golf course staff and volunteers, as well as many members throughout the city and all the different departments in this year in bringing the tournament to light. There also is a year-round committee that the VA will recognize a little bit later, and this committee is a year-round, as I said, is a year-round committee and works tirelessly to bring this money, and it goes to the great cause, the veterans. One special thanks I would like to do this year is for retired Chief Burgle. Chief, you could stand up, please. Chief Burgle, as everyone knows, retired, and as we were starting to plan for the event, I wasn't sure if he was going to be on board. So I gave him a call, and all it took was one Duffy's burger, and I convinced him, and the chief said, absolutely, I will help you with it. And not only did he help with the fundraising of the tournament, he actually came out and did some manual labor for the course to get it ready. So I really wanted to thank the chief for that. At this point, I would like to say what our total raise was. We raised a new record. It was $27,000 for the veteran, which brings our 8-year total to over $180,000. This year, we also had a co-sponsor of the event. The Palm Beach Gardens Police Foundation came to our aid and helped us with many things. We had many tasks to do, and they helped us with various efforts and fundraising for the tournament. They handled our raffles, and they contributed to the cause greatly. And it was a great sponsorship for them to be a co-sponsor with us. And I would like to bring up Mr. Tom Murphy, who would like to speak a little bit about that from the foundation.
Councilman, thank you for the opportunity to allow us to partner with the city on this important event. We certainly enjoyed doing it. More importantly, we enjoyed raising the funds for the Veterans Administration. And to the veterans folks who are here, I know I want to speak to Christy later. I want to congratulate them on the hard work they do. As a Vietnam-era veteran, I'm very aware of the work you do in the neighborhood here. We appreciate that, and we're very happy to be part of the city operation, which allowed us to make this sizable contribution to the VA, which I know you'll put to good use. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Of course, we could not raise this amount of funds without our great community sponsors. The first sponsor that I would like to recognize is the Honda Classic as a card sponsor. Unfortunately, Ed McEnroe could not make it tonight, but they were our card sponsor as well as donating numerous prizes for our raffle. So thank you very much to the Honda Classic. Our second sponsor was our gold sponsor, and it was Quality Grassing Solutions. It was a new sponsor for us, and unfortunately Mr. Armstrong could not make it as well. He's actually up at Orlando at the PGA show, but I want to thank QGS for their gracious sponsor. The two platinum sponsors, which is the highest level of sponsorship for the tournament, they've been continued sponsors since this tournament has started, and that is the Gardens Mall and Tire Kingdom. If Michelle Jacobs and Charles Zacharias could come up, we could give them a plaque and get a photo down here with Mayor and Council, as well as Tom from the Gardens Police Foundation. And Chief Burton, if you could come up as well and get a plaque, I appreciate that as well.
Great job, thank you.
Nice to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks, Trevor.
So is that Chief Burton, RDP?
I would also like to introduce Miss Christy McCullough from the VA administration. She's going to say a few words after the photo opportunity. Great, thank you very much. Ms. McConnell would like to say a few words.
Tim stole a little bit of my thunder. He mentioned already that it's the biggest year, $27,000 as he said, and over $187,000 actually over this 8-year-long partnership. Mary Phillips actually has been a founding father, if you will, with you all, as suggesting this idea and getting it rolling so many years ago, and I can't tell you how much it has meant to our veterans. You know, the idea that we can have funds and gift cards, which is what we use the money for our Operation Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, and New Dawn veterans, so our youngest era of veterans, as well as our homeless and indigent veterans. For those of you that don't know, we actually recently opened a 12,000 square foot mental health outpatient intensive treatment center that includes an entire floor dedicated to homeless resources, a food pantry, a clothing closet, shower facilities, laundry facilities, and a team of people to rally around our veterans when they need us the most. There's countless stories that I could share tonight of what your funds have done to support those veterans. People that were coming to us just for a shower and laundry facilities, and because of the relationship that was built and the food and the support that you all are able to provide with us, those veterans began to trust us and are now not that homeless veteran that was unkempt and disheveled, but gainfully employed with a house and a roof over their head. It makes us very, very proud. Many, many other stories I could share, but I know my time is short. But I just wanted to recognize those members, some of whom Tim has already mentioned, who gave an entire year to see this through and the planning of it. So if you could come up as I call your name, retired Chief Pete Burton. Jack Schnurr. Sherry. Cindy Unger. Pat Munson. Scott Danielski. All right, how do you really say it? Not too bad. Almost there, guys. Thank you for your patience. Laura Schubert. Charlotte Brzezinski. She's not here with us tonight, but Christy Wolnowitz. And last but not least, Mr. Tim Kasher, who's been a tireless.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We really appreciate, Tim, all your hard work as well. We know staff, it seems to be the same people every year that are involved in this, and our wonderful sponsors as well, but a lot of other things go to you as well, because you have to coordinate all this, and I know it's coming at different angles, and golf course being redone, and then tee times and other things going on. So thank you for all your efforts and really making us look good in the community and helping out the vets. It's a very special thing for us to do. We're looking forward to future years doing this, so thank you for your efforts. Next up, we have the Holiday Joy Drive.
Hi, I'm Judy Brandt, Communications Manager. I'm here to talk about the 2013 Holiday Joy Drive. You know, we started this 10, 15 years ago with like 20 kids, 3 or 4 officers, firefighters. It's grown into a truly citywide event now. So this year we actually had pretty close to 1,600 kids. Several children, probably close to 700, received 3 to 5 gifts apiece, along with stocking stuffers like crayons and coloring books. Another 500 toys went to Grove Park. 450 went to various outreach programs. You know, this is really truly a city event. We put toy drop-off boxes in all of our city locations, many businesses in the city. We ask our city people to come in and wrap on their lunches and off time. We've got a lot of community volunteers. I have a few little pictures we're going to show. You might recognize some people. So that's one of our pickups. That van, or that actually Tahoe, was absolutely loaded with toys. And we had another van besides, but couldn't get them both in the picture. So Jennifer Bashir is not here today, which I'd like her to be recognized. She spends a lot of time here with her 5 kids. She spends a lot of time here helping the other children. Andrea Sands in the back. She likes to hide, but she's our fire department rep, and she is instrumental in getting the fire department on board. And the fire department got to bless their little hearts. They give up their ready rooms for toys. Sometimes we have to go pick up an entire van load out of their space of toys, and we appreciate that from them. This shirt came to our attention, and we're going to adopt it next year as our team t-shirts. My crew back there doesn't know that yet. So these are some of our volunteers. Police and fire explorers are very helpful. They come in and bring things in and bring them out. They're there for pickup, helping their families out with their toys. This year, for the first year, we invited a lot of our area teachers from the schools that we served. It was very, very well received, and they went way back to their schools and have promised a bigger commitment next year now that they know how involved they are and how much we serve. Give a Smile to the Child Foundation, you know, they are a wrapping machine, that group. If I get behind, I call Barbara Buckley and she brings in a crew, and they are efficient people. Driving Miss Crazy this is their 2nd year with us, and she's a resident out of Mirasol, and their project is to provide gift cards to help our teens and tweens. So she runs a drive through her sources. They contributed about $3,500 in gift cards this year for the teens and tweens. City employees, the Spirit team is invaluable. They run all of our city events. They ask them to bring a toy box for drop-off, so when we request toys, it goes very well. Community volunteers from everywhere. We had volunteers from St. Mark's. We had kids from Trinity. We had Girl Scouts. We have a lot of volunteers from different places. A lot of the teenagers are finding out that they can come and rap for community service. Much better than picking up trash on the side of the road for them. They're in air conditioning. We have music. It's fun. A lot of our family and friends donate a lot of time for this, and as much as donate the time, they support us so that we can spend a lot of time here handling this. The Police Foundation has been very, very good to us. You know, they're kind of spearing out into everything, and they are our backup, and also handle a lot of our financing and a lot of our purchasing areas. So that's what the room looked like probably a week before pickup. You'll see it's getting fuller and fuller. Each child gets a bag is what you're seeing, and they're all coded by schools. So you'll see some familiar faces. For the second or third year in a row, the council has come to wrap for us. I will say that I'm very proud. Some of them walked in only wrapping square boxes. They would cherry pick their bags and only pick up squares. Some of them have branched out. You'll see, oh, there's a square box. Oh, there we go, a basketball. You did a basketball. I'm very proud of you. He used to put the basketballs back in the bag and hopefully they would find them later. So they've been very, see the little dog in the purse, that was a challenge. And so the fire department came out this year and wrapped with us, so that was kind of fun. Now you see that? Somehow Mr. Ferris found the oddest shaped package, whatever to wrap, and he's like, what am I supposed to do with this thing? But he did manage it, and with good grace, so we appreciate that. And then that's our Balliniles pickup. Every year Balliniles does a couple of events where they have their residents bring toys, and we are the recipients of that. So there's Santa with Officer Lovejoy, who's also standing in the back. We're at that pickup. So again, I want to thank the city and the council for support, and the community as well, and that's it.
Thank you, Judy, very much. Thank you really to your whole team. It's pretty enlightening when you go in there and see all the amount of toys and all the amount of names on the list, and then having the actual families come by and pick up their presents. It's pretty heartwarming. So thank you for all your work. We certainly appreciate it, and look forward to next year's event as well. Thank you. Next up, we have the annual crime report. Chief Stepp.
Good evening. For the record, Stephen Stepp, Chief of Police. I wanted to take a few minutes to go over our annual report, which is now available online and was presented to the city manager and council. We had a pretty good year, and all right, I think we're back on. As you can see from the slide, the list of our Part 1 crimes that have taken place. This is the lowest crime rate since 1987. So if you go back 26 years or so ago, what was really around here? Not nearly as much as now. The mall was just being built. There was no Legacy Place, no downtown at the Gardens, no Commons, Midtown. Donald Ross Village wasn't there. Old Palm, Mirasol, Paloma, the Isles, the list goes on, and yet back then we had more crime than we have today. So we're proud of that. We wish we could get it down to zero, but those are the numbers that still exist. Fortunately, violent crime is not the main crime in our city. They tend to be property crimes. Overall, our crime was down from last year, which set a 25-year record. It was down 4.4% overall. And when we look at violent crime, it was down an additional 7% from last year. Also, when it comes to violent crime, the majority of our violent crime in this city is a known victim offender. So they know each other. It's rare that a stranger comes up and harms another person in the city, fortunately. When we look at our calls for service, that number has gone down a little bit from the previous year, 33,576 calls for service where the public has contacted us and asked us to respond. When we look at overall incidents in the city that are documented by our officers out on the street, there were over 137,000 incidents that we handled. I move on to a list of some of the arrests we made. We had 1,436 arrests. We have a pretty high clearance rate for solving crime in our city, higher than the county average, the region, and the state average. When it comes to violent crime, we're able to solve about 64% this past year. When we look at the most common crimes in the city, they're not murder, rape, robbery, things like that. They tend to be theft, usually shoplifting. We make a number of DUI arrests, I believe 160 last year, and some drug possession cases. That's what tends to happen in our city the most. And this is a graph that we like to update each year. The blue line shows our population growth, and the red shows our crime rate going back to 1990. And when you look at our population, it's risen about two and a half times during this period. And when you look at our business community, which is not listed on here, it's gone up more than fourfold. And yet we're at a record low in crime for 26 years. So we're real proud of that. But when we look at it, what do the numbers really mean? You know, if we say, well, we went from 35 to 27 in some particular crime, it really doesn't mean a lot. What really your concern is as a resident here is, can you go out for an evening walk? Can you go on a picnic? Can you go shopping or sit outside some restaurant and enjoy yourself when you're taking the dog out for a walk? Do you reasonably feel safe in Palm Beach Gardens? Is there a fear of crime, or have we been able to reduce that fear of crime? And if the answer is yes, that you don't have that severe fear of crime, that you feel safer here than most places, and that increases the quality of life, which in turn we believe creates value in the community. And things that it brings to the community is an important piece of that puzzle. We look at the economic impact, where we have higher property values, we're able to attract business, corporate headquarters come, a lot of regional draws that people want to come to this area, even if they don't live here. If they don't live here already, they want to. We're bringing in outside money into this city that is being spent locally at our malls, the shopping centers, the restaurants. Our neighborhoods are thriving. We've got, I believe, 5 college campuses now within the city. It's important to create that value, knowing that there's a safe community. We've seen a big increase in community events, and our officers try to get out to those events as much as possible to ensure safety, whether it's sports tournaments, whether it's the Honda Classic, concerts, green markets, dancing under the stars, at our golf course, tennis centers, the parks. It's a real vibrant city, and we feel that when you go full circle, a key component of that is public safety. I have another chart here, and what we did, this is even more impressive, I believe. This is based on per capita, where we look at per 1,000 population, what was the crime rate? This goes all the way back to 1980. We got these numbers from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and we can accurately go back through them to 1980, and you'll see that the number just continues to go down. So we don't know what the future will bring, but we know that we've had some key components to our success so far. We believe strongly in community policing. It's not just a unit on our department, but a total philosophy. Even our officers' individual performance appraisals have a section in there based on community policing. And the basic tenets of that are partnership with the community and problem solving. And we put those together on a regular basis, whether it's through our Citizens Mobile Patrol program, working closely with our homeowners. We send out monthly reports showing all activity to all the HOA groups. We attend a lot of their meetings. We get with the schools. We have our Explorer program. We work close with the shopping centers around the city. We do things for the community on a regular basis. Not unusual for us to install car seats for new parents that have their first child and aren't quite sure how to put those in to ensure safety. And we're trying for continuous improvement on a regular basis. We took our car seat program We just enhanced it this year with our Forget-Me-Not program to keep children from being left alone in hot cars. Those are just some of the examples. We try not to just be responsive, but proactive in our policing. We started a number of programs, such as our license plate readers, where mounted onto some of our vehicles, including our CMP vehicle, the ability to pick up stolen cars or wanted people as we drive through parking lots or different areas. That's been somewhat successful, and we plan to expand that program. We have what's called POP projects, which are in our top projects, traffic-oriented policing, where we try to look at the root causes of problems so we don't have to respond every day. We have our wants programs, where we find out people recently released from prison that we check on, that may be in our city for one reason or another, or people with open warrants that are being looked for by other agencies, and we try to scoop them up before they have a chance to commit crime. Our CEPTED program, Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. The goal there is to design out crime for the next 40, 50 years that a structure is going to be there, a development, a building, so that we don't have to devote all the resources to it. Another area is our crime analysis is really beginning to pay off. We've taken that to a new level. We're very much involved in hotspot mapping and trying to move into the area of predictive policing, so we can be more than just responsive but actually proactive. So all these things come down to our core values. So when we look at the numbers, that means one thing, but we're trying to be out there with the community. We can't guarantee the numbers in the future, but we think we're basically doing the right thing. We're into continuous improvement, and we'll continue to follow those core values of respect, accountability, and professionalism throughout our organization. We call that our RAP, R-A-P, and we'll continue to do it. But I guess the biggest thing is the partnership we have with the community that really seems to pay off, and we think that's the biggest reasons the numbers come down. With that said, I'd be happy to answer any questions. We're proud of the last year, but we've done it together, so thank you for your support.
Can you talk a little bit about the connections now that we have with the EOCC with the other cities? I mean, if you're doing calls in Jupiter or Juneau or Jupiter Inland Colony or something happens, are those calls incorporated in these numbers? Because if they are,
No.
Oh, they're not? Okay.
No, these are our
Just
numbers.
our city? Okay.
Yeah, the number of calls that come into our 911 center are much greater than that. I don't have those exact numbers.
Well, but as far as our city police involvement doing other jurisdictions or going up there, and
yeah,
are those type calls in these numbers?
Basically what happens is there's an instant awareness, because when something happens in one city, the bad guys don't always know the boundary lines.
Right.
So rather than making a phone call or sending a message or an email, we're able to put that information out to all the cities instantaneous, and we work together, and if there's a hot call going on, we'll start easing towards their area. In case they need help, they come in and help us regularly. So there's a pooling of resources that really help quite a bit.
Well, it's good synergies, and I think the bad element tends to know that these synergies are in place when you have these communities that are basically instantaneous, can talk to one another without issue and can cut off something before it happens. So I think that helps when you see these numbers decline, is the great partnership we have in North County with these other cities.
It's worked out very well and continues to expand and get better and better.
Okay, great. Any questions for the Chief?
Yeah, Chief, actually this is so impressive, because I know in 2011 you did a major program with the merchants to identify shoplifting, and the theft rate went up because they were now being reported. And to see that number come way back down is just amazing, because I know that those merchants are still doing that program. So that must mean that the shoplifters have learned not to shoplift here.
To a certain extent, sure, that's made a difference. We have a lot of programs out there when we catch, we have first offender programs for our youth to try and keep them out of the criminal justice system and get them into diversion groups, and hopefully they won't reoffend. That's been very successful. There's a lot of little things behind the scenes that are going on that seem to all be paying off.
Yeah, the other thing I want to compliment you and Public Works on is the way the city is kept. And I know that you and I have had conversations about the broken window syndrome, and the way that the police and Public Works are working together make sure that the city looks good, you know, that's a big deterrent to crime. And I want to compliment both you and I think Mike Morrow was in the audience too, so I want to compliment both of you
All the
for
city
keeping it
departments work so well, and it's amazing. The graffiti eradication is in line with what you're speaking about. You don't drive around the city and see graffiti that attracts gangs and markings and territories. We just don't allow that here.
Anybody else? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Thank you. All right, next up on the agenda is the city manager report. Okay, no report. Comments from the public. I do have 3 cards. Donaldson hearings.
Good evening, council members. I'm here tonight on behalf of the PGA Corridor Association. Just wanted to give you greetings. We couldn't do and accomplish what we accomplished without your support. Of course, you know our mission is to promote and enhance PGA Boulevard as the premier corridor to do business in Palm Beach County, the state of Florida. We have a business here that I'll be representing later that just moved to PGA Boulevard, another corporate headquarters here on the boulevard. A couple of upcoming events on April 8th. We have the GATA, Blue GATA property rights luncheon. We have a great lineup for you this year, and then of course on April 30th we have the State of the City Mayor's Address at the event as well. So we look forward to your attendance and participation, and more than anything, thank you. It's your vision that's made the PGA Corridor what it is today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Steve Barnes.
And I'm not wearing a red shirt tonight. No, I had an observation today.
Just name and address.
Oh, Steve Barnes, 31-year resident of Palm Beach Gardens, live in Shady Lakes. I had an observation today as I was coming from North Lake on Military about the wave out here. The traffic stopped. 5 changes of lights later, I still could not turn left on PGA Boulevard. So I went straight, got all the way to Garden Lakes, and I was going to cut through. Traffic was all the way back from the corner of PGA Military to the Garden Lakes Drive. We're creating a monster on these roads. This morning, as I left Shady Lakes, I couldn't even turn left on PGA Boulevard at 8:45 in the morning. I had to cut through Garden Isles to get down to where I work. I ask, it's an observation of what's going on, but I also ask what can be done to relieve the Military Trail and PGA traffic. Military is the only north-south road from Blue Heron on up. And it's constantly, it's a very, very heavy traffic area. Over the years, we've forced all the traffic down on the Military Trail going north and south. Over the years, we've closed Steeplechase Drive, we've closed the drive between North Lake and PGA through Ballon Isles, and we've made semi-private to Ryder Cup. And I guess I've got a question, and maybe Mr. Jablin can help, Councilman Jablin can help us with that, because he's on these committees. Is there any plans to put a public road, maybe on the east side of the turnpike, or the west side of the turnpike, or some place that can relieve this traffic? Because we're in a position now that you guys, if you have to leave here at 4:30, 5 o'clock, I don't know where you're going to, you can't get to PGA Boulevard 5 or 6 lanes from now. That's silly. So I just ask, is there any plans to do anything about the traffic getting, we forced all our traffic east, is what I'm saying, on the Military Trail. And I think it's time we got to look into, with the DOT or whoever's involved, Mr. Jalen, to put some roads from the south,
North-south arteries, right.
North, yeah, through the gardens. We're killing ourselves on this road. Being in the real estate business for 30 years, over 30 years here, it hasn't, I don't think it's hurt the gardens yet, because we've done so many wonderful things over the years to help. But overall, it's going to, we're starting to look like Fort Lauderdale on PGA and Military now, and North Lake, and in some cases, at least they widen North Lake to get it, that it's a little wider. I don't know that you can do that on PGA, and I know you can't widen Military anymore. So I think we need a feeder road, north or south to north, north to south, somewhere along either the turnpike, west side of it, or east side of it, or maybe west of PGA and cut it through. I don't know. But That's all I had, an observation, comment.
Thank you, Steve.
You're right, Steve. The traffic is getting worse seasonally, obviously, but every year it does get worse. There are plans on Military Trail to right outside of the city complex to close off and make a double left turn onto Burns Road. That will help to some degree because traffic won't be cutting across the road from the municipal complex anymore. Those plans are in the works, I think, in the next several months. You notice that the telephone pole, or the transmission lines have been moved further onto our property. That's one thing they can do. But you're right, we do need more north-south reliever roads. By the way, I live in PGA National. And you know, that road is open on a regular basis all day long.
Yeah.
They did close off Haverhill. They closed off Allen Isles Drive. These were initiatives, unfortunately, the county took, not the city. So I'm in there with you. I would like to see more reliever roads, especially on the east side of the turnpike. There may be some plans, State Road 7 on the west side, that will go through all the way up to Donald Ross Road. But that's not for us. That's not for us. That's too far west. We do need more. We're just running out of lanes.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going to put
Yeah.
what you just said. I mean, it's impossible because there isn't any access.
Yeah, I know.
But you see, we had traffic performance standards. And the traffic performance standards wouldn't allow developers to build unless there was a certain level of service. Well, if he was there 5 light changes, something's wrong. But I'd like
there was
to...
an accident on I-95.
No,
No, there wasn't, because
There was.
This afternoon, but not this morning.
But not this morning.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
Let me just say this, I come out because my office is right there in the corner, and I've seen a lot more additional traffic. In fact, what happens now, a lot of times, I'll have to go all the way back through, I can usually come out right from my office where the old Abbey Road there was and go across and make a left. Now what I do is I almost come through the city and go to Burns Road and so I can make the left, because at 5 o'clock there is a lot of traffic. What I'd like to do is maybe ask Commissioner Valicek to have this, I don't know if there maybe at the timing of the lights or whatever. Commissioner was here earlier, I think he's left, I don't think he's here anymore. But if we could contact him and maybe sit down with George Webb and see what it is, because to me, it doesn't look right. And as you well know, it depends, that they control the roads and they control the traffic lights. And I don't know whether it's a light situation or what, but...
Actually, you're absolutely right. We actually talked about this, and I drive Military Trail. I am totally in agreement with you. I drive my daughter to school at 7 in the morning, and I'm driving, I think, 20 times a day on Military Trail from south of here all the way to Donald Ross Road. So it's not just Military, PGA as well, going east to west. But I did speak to the county. I had a meeting with Cal, and he did go forth and talk to George Webb as well. The timing of the lights is probably something that we can work on right now. I know there should be future things that we can work on as well. But the timing of the lights could become an integral key to at least moving traffic more quickly than what we're doing now. And that's both north-south and east and west. And they actually have a new system that they're putting into place with timing, which is more of a computerized system versus manually, strategically timing the lights and having to constantly change it. So I think when they start putting in this new computerized timing system, I don't know what the actual name of it is, I think that's really going to help. So I hear you, I agree with you, and we're going to have to stay on top of it because we do need to do something. I think that's something we can do right now and then work on the future.
But as you well know, the problem with PGA and military, the state will also be involved because of I-95. They don't want any traffic to back up there and meet people. So there was also, and I don't remember, there was also on, I thought there was going to be a reliever put I saw some type of a plan, it's probably around 5, 6, 7 years ago, to set up off of Military Trail on the north side to get onto 95. I don't know whatever happened. They had some type of a plan.
Wasn't there an interchange?
I don't even-
Boulevard?
There's an interchange plan.
Modified interchange
There's
on
an
North Lake
interchange
Boulevard
plan
that they're talking
on
about too.
Central,
That's.
No, there was
that
something
goes
else
up
off
to
of
the north end.
Military Trail. I'll have to call
See what
George.
you started now? See what you started? We're getting a whole dialogue
Yeah, I
now.
know. All I want, like I say, all I want to do is help this mess over here.
For the traffic
North
light
Lake is
consideration.
bad, North Lake and Military is horrible too.
They built that road on that access road from
I agree. I don't know where everybody's come from.
I was wondering, Eric, maybe you know because of your
Is your
position.
mic's not good?
My time's up, I know, but
No, go ahead.
the canal west of PGA and that area that's preserved, is there any way, it's probably, I can't, because I was thinking that's a perfect north-south. Not near PGA even, but.
No, I know, that's the preserve, unfortunately.
Environmental.
Nothing you can do.
And Steve, years ago, we looked at that to relieve Jog Road, and it just wasn't a go, because the county, it's all preserved. It's just part of the slough.
Yeah, they came through that off Okeechobee in 7, where they did that to get it to what's eventually going to be the extension of 7.
Yes.
And that was all preserved at one time.
Not done yet, Steve. Yeah, not done yet, though, unfortunately.
No, but the road's
Trying.
already open, going all the way to.
Through the water catching area.
Yeah, by Target on Okeechobee, that's relieved a ton of traffic out in that area, and that was preserved, I believe, at one time, so. And it's not an environmentally ugly situation, as far as I can see. I've driven it many times, so. But anyway.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for listening.
Appreciate
No, my 2 cents is that the biggest danger to traffic on PGA Boulevard is the PGA extension. And I know that we have been working through Eric to try to get the extension taken off the thoroughfare plan. Because that opens up western development, and that's what will really bring in, urban sprawl, brings in traffic. So I would like to, continue those efforts to take the extension off of the thoroughfare plan and to resist any attempts to bring the extension out to the Avenue project.
The new 2040 plan is coming up in August. And, I'm going to be very vocal about it.
Okay, so noted. Ruth Peoples?
Good evening, Ruth Peoples, 184 Bentry Drive. Now that we can finally move on past the baseball stadium issue being located on 117th Court, I'd like to address what might go on that 82 acres. I realize the property is owned by the county, but I also know that the city will play a large part in deciding what goes there. For this reason, I did an unofficial, unscientific poll of the extensive group of people on my email list. And we overwhelmingly agreed on the passive park design. I have a copy of the passive park design from 2005 that the city put together called Plan D. I believe Councilman Levy gave me that back in 2005 whenever we discussed the park issue 8 years ago. But I'd like to suggest that with the passive park design that there be, it has an observatory and a nature center, and I suggest utilizing that plan. In fact, I'd like to suggest building a nature center or environmental center similar to what is at the MacArthur Park. And what better location for an outdoor lab, if you will, located directly across the street from 2 schools and right in the center of our city, so that we've got Franklin Academy with 1,300 students that could utilize that right up the road, the Meyer School there, Timber Trace, Duncan, Palm Beach Gardens. There's just so many schools in this area, and it would be a perfect spot for school children to be able to go over and use that as an outdoor lab. It also would be a public place, an outdoor learning facility that could benefit many local families. older people, young people, athletic and non-athletic families. Thank you.
Do you have that plan, a copy of it?
I do, but I got it right from the city. I mean, I do have a copy of it here, I can give it to you.
You know, just for the record, the county said there's no way, if I recall correctly, that they would do a Passage Park there when we proposed that. Am I right, Ron? So, you know, what you're saying is good, but you need to be talking to Commissioner Valashay and go down to the county and talk to them about it, because that thing is going to be decided by the county. Yeah, we'll have some input, but also all of North County cities, because that was purchased by a bond referendum and all the North County cities together, and all the North County cities are involved in the planning of that. So, you know, if you should set up a meeting with Commissioner Valashay and go talk to him about it and get it going there, because that's really where it needs to be. We won't see it until...
I did email. I emailed Commissioner Valashay and I spoke to him via email about it. He knows exactly. I sent him a copy of the plan as well. But I know that it's a two-way street, and I know that the city has to be in agreement with something like that going there, or will play a part in the planning, and that's what I'm coming to you asking is for your support on that, because I believe it would be a huge draw to our city.
Well, that's fine. I mean, if the county proposes they want to do that, I'm sure that we won't have an issue with it, but it's their land, and if they come to us and say they want to have an active park there, I'm going to have a difficult time telling them that they can't, because that's what we all were going to do back when. But the thing is to sit down and work it out with them so we get at least some type of negotiation going to whereby at least we get something that we're all going to like. So no problem. Go talk to them, and if that's what they want to bring back,
Or part of the facility has
it'll be ecstatic. So.
Did you want this, or you have it already? Who asked for it?
We have it in our records.
Yes, you do have it in
I just want to
your
make sure that was the city copy, so you have that.
Yes,
Okay.
I have the copy from the city.
Okay, great.
I think you should go to a county commission meeting too. You know, I don't know if you work during the day or whatever, but
I'll do that in my free time.
Well, no, I mean, to get them going on it, it's a good thing to present down to them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have no other cards. Anybody else wishing to speak for, against, about anything not on the item on the agenda? All right, seeing none, I'll move on to consent agenda.
Yeah, we'll get consent agenda.
And a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 5-0.